So again, just settle into a nice, comfortable seated posture. That's right. Pull your shirt down. I saw that, Brent. Okay, hi. Just settle into a position that's comfortable for you. And it is helpful if you sit in an aligned fashion. So if you've got your legs down, try not to cross them over because you're just kind of creating energy blocks down there as well as physiological blocks, with the flow of the blood and the lymph, etc. You can have your hands just resting on your lap. And you can also be sitting in the cross-legged position if that's comfortable for you. I would suggest you put something underneath your coccyx so that your sacrum isn't you're not kind of sinking back. If you've got something underneath your coccyx, it changes the alignment of your sacrum and your pelvis, and then you'll find you're able to align your shoulders with your hips more easily. And then imagine your spine is a beautiful string of pearls of light. And put some space in between those vertebrae. And lengthen your spine. And then go to the crown of the head and just release any tension there. Relax your scalp. And just soften your face, your neck, chest, belly, back of the head. And put a little bit of length in the back of the neck. If your neck is constricted, it does create a little bit of agitation in the mind. So just release that. And be aware of the sensations of a breath as you inhale and exhale. The nostrils, chest cavity, the belly. So in this process, we're just kind of bringing ourselves down, kind of going inwards. And this group I've got at the YMCA, they just love to go inside. They come into this environment, which is mainly a gym and a swimming pool and weights and blah, blah, blah. And they go into the room. They're usually there early. They pull down the blinds and they turn the lights off. They're just sitting there ready to go inside. And be also aware of the various sounds in your environment, just allowing those sounds to be there. Trying not to follow with the mind. And then check in with your mind, see how you're doing this evening. And for some of you, obviously, it's morning or lunchtime. And then, of course, there's these amazing people who are up at 11 o'clock at night doing this practice on the East Coast of the United States. So then, bring to mind all those people of our life, our loved ones, our strangers, and then there's ones we don't like terribly much. They're all equal. They all want to be happy. They don't want to suffer, and they all have this extraordinary capacity for a Buddha mind. So we think. We think that for the sake of all these beings, we're going to do this practice. And there's many beings in the world right now who need some assistance, some help. We think like that for all sentient beings and for ourselves as we're moving along the spiritual path. So, Lama Yeshe used to say, there is no negativity that can't be purified. And this purification process is basically psychological. As we create negativity with our mind, so equally we can change it and create positivity instead. So we start with this power of regret, and regret's not guilt. Guilt is kind of like, I'm such a bad person, da 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 da. Regret is more like taking responsibility for action, and it implies that we actually want to maybe change or do something about it. So we regret from the depths of our heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all of our past lives. And think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general, regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. And we experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions. And so, having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. And we cannot bear the thought of any future suffering that we might experience. And we know from our present suffering, we don't want any more. So logically, it makes sense to remove the karmic seeds before they ripen as future suffering for us. So we think like this: I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want any future suffering. And you think like, we know we're all sick of suffering. And so, excuse me, we regret our delusions, attachment, anger, and all the rest, all the things that we do to harm others. And we think, I'm sick of this suffering. So then what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to the power of reliance, and we turn to the Buddha, who we see as a doctor, who has these methods that we can use to purify. So we're not needing Buddha Vajrasattva to forgive us. We're purifying ourselves by relying upon his medicine. So you imagine Vajrasattva above the crown of your head, and you can also imagine this is the mind of your teacher manifesting in this form for your benefit. And he's made of this beautiful, radiant, blissful white light, sitting cross-legged on a white lotus and a moon cushion. He has a beautiful, radiant face, and his eyes are long, and they're shaped like lotus petals, and they're peaceful, and they're full of love and compassion for you and all those people of your life. So you imagine, however it is you're turning up this evening, it's totally fine. He's just looking at you in a very accepting, welcoming way. And his arms are crossed at his heart, the left underneath the right, closest to the heart. The left is holding a bell representing wisdom. The right holds a vajra, and this represents the indestructibility of compassion. And when they're crossed like that, it represents enlightenment, infinite wisdom, infinite compassion. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So we have a little section here also under this section of reliance, developing compassion. So how do we develop compassion? Well, we need to rely upon other beings. So you think of people that you've harmed and have a strong wish for them to be free from suffering. And think of people who've harmed you. And particularly think of them because the harm they've caused you is going to result as suffering sometime in the future. So we think we must do this practice of purification for all these beings. I must purify for their sake. Then we come to the power of the remedy, and this is the medicine doing the practice of purification. And we start with the body, and Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart, and it arcs around and enters your crown and pours into your entire body, filling you completely. And it keeps pouring into you until it forces out of your lower orifices all the harm you have ever done to any living being with your body in the form of inky liquid. It's just kind of this yucky liquid just pours out of you and disappears into space. Not one atom left as we recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Jida Mebowa Sutoshaya Mebowa Suposhaya Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sutame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drina Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drina Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe. So be delighted at all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified, and think that there's no way you could do anything other than benefit others now with your body. And next is the purification of our speech, and Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and it arcs around and quite forcefully enters your crown and fills your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech, and this overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So imagine all the gossip and the harsh speech and the useless speech and lying and talking about people behind their backs and getting other people to agree with you. All of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you again as you recite the mantra. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa, Sutokaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anorakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe, Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya, Vajrasattva Dina Patita, Drita Meboa, Sutokaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anorakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe, Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya, Vajrasattva Dina Patita, Drita Meboa, Sutokaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anorakta Meboa, Sawasidi Mimpi Yatsa Sawa Kama Sitame, Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe, Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya, Vajrasattva Dina Patita, Drita Meboa, Sutokaya Meboa, Sipokaya Meboa, Anorakta me boa sawasidi mimpi yata sawa kama sita me sitam triyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajra mami mutta vajra bawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe Vajra safa samaya manupalaya vajra safa dina patita Jina me boa sutukaya me boa sipokaya me boa Anorakta me boa sawasidi mimpi yata sawa kama sita me sitam triyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan Sawa tata gata vajra mami mutta vajra bawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe Vajra safa samaya manupalaya vajra safa dina patita Jida me boa sutokaya me boa sipokaya me boa Anorakta me boa sawasidi me piyata sawa kama sita me sitam triyam guru hum ha 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 bhagavan sawa tata gata vajra mami mutta vajra bawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe So again, feel really happy. Your speech is completely purified. And imagine it's not possible to do anything other than benefit others now with your speech. And so that includes yourself and also includes anything you write, anything you put on social media, emails, notes, birthday cards, all of that. And next is the purification of our mind. And Vajrasattva now very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So, this happens as instantaneously as when you walk into a pitch black room and just flick on the switch, the light comes. So you imagine the same. The moment the light from Vajrasattva's heart hits your heart chakra, all the darkness of the negativity of your mind, so all your attachment, depression, anxiety, anger, bitterness, grudges, jealousy, negative self-talk, all of this instantly dispelled in an instant. Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta Meboa Sawasidi Mimpi Yata Sawa Kama Sita Me Sitam Triyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagavan Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajra Bawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hum Pe Om Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dina Patita Drita Meboa Sutokaya Meboa Sipokaya Meboa Anorakta me boa sawasidi mimpi yata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajra bawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Drita me boa sutukaya me boa sipokaya me boa Anorakta me boa sawasidi mimpi yata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan Sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajra bawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Drita me boa situkaya me boa sipokaya me boa Anorakta me boa sawasidi mimpi yata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajra bawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Drita me boa situkaya me boa sipokaya me boa Anorakta me boa sawasidi mimpi yata sawa kama sita me sitam triyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajra bawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Drita me boa sitokaya me boa sipokaya me boa Anorakta me boa sawasidi mimpi yata sawa kama sita me sitam triyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajra bawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Drita me boa sitokaya me boa sipokaya me boa Anorakta me boa sawasidi mimpi yata sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam guru hum ha 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 ho bhagavan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajra bawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe. So be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others, are completely purified, they're gone. And think that there's no space in your heart now for anything other than love and kindness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. So next is the purification of even the imprints of negativity of our body, speech, and mind. So you imagine Vajrasattva sending the light and the nectar. So the nectar flows down, pushing out all the negativity of the body, and it flows up, pushing out all the negativity of the speech. And then the light comes and just blasts all the delusions. And it's very busy because it's happening all at the same time. But in this way, you eradicate completely even the subtlest imprints of negative energy from your consciousness. Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Jida Mebowa Sutokaya Mebowa Sipokaya Mebowa Anarakta Mebowa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tatagata Vajramame Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Om Vajrasattva Samayam Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Drita mebowa, sitokaya mebowa, sipokaya mebowa, anarakta mebowa, sawasidi mimpiyata sawa kama sitame, sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan, sawa tatagata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hom pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya, vajrasattva dinapatita, Drita mebowa, sitokaya mebowa, sipokaya mebowa, Anarakta mebowa sawasidi mimpiyata sawa kama sitame sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan sawa tatagata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya sattva a hom pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dinapatita Drita mebowa sitokaya mebowa sipokaya mebowa Anarakta mebowa sawasidi mimpiyata sawa kama sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Drita Mebowa Sitokaya Mebowa Sipokaya Mebowa Anurakta Mebowa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Drita Mebowa Sitokaya Mebowa Sipokaya Mebowa Anurakta Mebowa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Drita Mebowa Sitokaya Mebowa Sipokaya Mebowa Anurakta Mebowa Sawasidi Mimpiyata Sawa Kama Sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawa Tatagata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva A Hom Pe. So now feel you're completely purified. There's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream, and even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment have been removed. And so then we come to the fourth opponent power, the power of resolve. And this is kind of crucial here. Because before you do anything, you need to make a decision to do it. So we want to develop a wish in our heart, an aspiration to refrain from harming. So, Lamsa Rinpoche used to talk about everything existing on the tip of the wishes. So you just have to decide, this is what I want. And so then also just rejoice in your efforts for, making the effort to come along. For those of you who are very late, just everybody's nighttime here now, so everyone, people in the middle of the day, you're in the middle of your work day in Australia. So, just rejoice in your efforts for kind of coming along. And then think of something you've been working on. Maybe it's something to do with your speech. Maybe it's your mind. Maybe it's your self-talk. Maybe it's, maybe you're impulsive. Whatever it is you're doing that might be harmful for yourself and others, think about, set your phone to like a notification. So you could just think about something that you want to work on for just maybe a few minutes, just meditate on it. Or even while you're just kind of sitting in traffic, in the line in the supermarket. And so you have to make a decision, a determination to refrain. And then imagine Vajrasattva is delighted with all of us and wants to merge with your mind and melts into white light and absorbs into you through your crown. And you think my teacher's body, speech, and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same. So Lama Yeshe used to have this sweet expression. He called it union oneness. And then Rinpoche, Lamso Rinpoche would recommend just to meditate on this emptiness. In emptiness, there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma. And there is no negative karma created. So at whatever level you understand emptiness, even if you've only just heard the word, just kind of think about it for a minute. And then we think all phenomena are just they're empty, in that they don't exist from their own side. So that things don't necessarily exist the way we think they do, the way we perceive them. So just let that settle in your mind for a moment. And then we just dedicate all the positive energy you've created doing this practice to all living beings and think, may all the virtuous karma I've created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. So we'll do our 3 verses of chanting the names of Manjushri for the swift discovery of our precious Lamsa Rinpoche. And Vandana, the antidote for jealousy is rejoicing in someone's doing something that you want. So if someone's going to Europe and having a nice time, you rejoice for them and think, may I be there too one day, and I will be there one day. Like that. Does that make sense? Where are you? Anyway, someone's laughing. All right. We're doing our 3 verses. Comprised of Vajras, holy, dense, and firm, the newborn sovereign ruler of the world, emerging from the sky, the self-arisen, a massive blaze of knowledge and of insight, illuminating beacon of great light, a lamp of wisdom shining brilliantly, a light for beings, a lantern unto wisdom, with energy supreme, most radiant, the Vidya King, the greatest mantra's lord, the Mantra King, achieving noble aims, the great Usnisa, marvelous Usnisa, the Lord of space, revealer of all things. Okay. All right, everyone.